Okay, welcome to today's Ideas Foundry, 4th of January 2021. Came up with this idea by 11 o'clock last night after seeing some examples of how the SpaceX booster that's going to launch a Starship into orbit is going to land. Or not land, being it's got no landing legs, and so it's going to be captured by some sort of arm, claw, so as the booster comes down, some sort of claw is going to capture it. I don't like the idea of metal on metal, but anyway, so with that in mind, I had an epiphany at 11 o'clock last night, which basically get rid of the landing structure, the arm, claw, whatever's going to grab the booster. Delete it, get rid of it, and instead have the booster land in the ground like a missile silo. So the booster comes down, goes underground, and then the grid fins will rest on the entrance to the missile silo, and that's how it's going to land. To that end, came up with some crude artwork. Anyway, so here we go. See if I can describe this. Okay, so what I call the booster silo. So if you can see there, just under the title, booster silo. Which page are we on? So here we go. Right, so as it comes down, it's going to booster is going to come down and it's going to go into the missile silo hole, and the grid fin is going to land on the entrance to the hole. The grid fin is going to land on something like wooden sleepers on top of springs to cushion the impact. And also there's going to be, you obviously need to be able to access the missile, the booster, once it's in the ground. So we'll have a maintenance area just underneath it with access to the surface with a relevant incline there. So that can also double up as the flame trench, a thrust diversion, so it'll be coated with that special stuff that protects it. So when it lands, everything's cooled down. It's a maintenance area. Check the engines, perhaps maybe every fifth landing. Fuel up, obviously. Tank farm around here somewhere. So once it's landed, you've got a Starship waiting on the ground here, near ground level, and it's easy to plonk that on top of the booster because it's pretty much ground level and not 60 meters up in the air. So that's the land version. Okay, so then we've got a sea version, which I came up with first actually. So using oil derricks perhaps. So we got like an ex-oil rig, and this is a deck of the oil rig going across. Legs going through the ocean floor, the ocean there. So same as the land version. Booster comes down, falls through a hole in the deck, rests on sleepers, springs, wooden things, whatever here. Same as before here. So it's just going to be dangling under the deck of the oil rig in thin air. So obviously you're going to need to access the engines, so you could have a retractable maintenance area or a boat to maintain the engines. Same as before, you can have a waiting Starship here, and pretty much the same level as the top of the booster, so not too much effort there required to put it back on top. And also this can also double up as a landing pad, so the Starship comes down, lands around here somewhere, and can easily be put on top of the booster then once that's dangling there on the deck. Now something I don't know here is when it takes off, no flame trench, what happens when 28 Raptors hit the ocean? I don't know. So with that in mind, would there have to be some sort of barrier here, a bit like the retractable maintenance area? Or can 28 Raptors just fire into the ocean? Would that create a lot of steam? I don't know. Questions. But I'm sure it could be engineered quite easily. And that's a C version. A couple of issues, I think, it could be, are what I call landing compensators. So problems with landing in a hole. Could be basic physics I'm unaware of, but anyway. So as the booster's coming down, being exposed to a hole, how's that going to affect the thrust as it's slowing down? There's suddenly a hole there, and then there's a hard edge each side. So to lessen the hard edge each side, you could have some sort of metal grate affair with a gradual incline into the hole, so the thrust is gradually diverted into the hole, so it's less jarring, so to speak. Other option, booster comes down, we've got a trapdoor shut just before the booster hits ground level, trapdoor opens and the booster goes down. Okay, also something else I thought of whilst for maintenance in a hole, you could have them things like them gantries on the side of skyscrapers that go down the side of the skyscraper to clean the windows. You could have something like that. Just roll up to the pad and drop it down the side of the booster to access all sides of the booster. Or have something already in place in the hole, obviously sealed off with metal doors when it takes off. Okay, so that's it. Possible issues I have, or I think there will be, investigations. Can the access trench on the ground version be used as a flame diverter? Landing compensators, these things, can they be used, would they need to be used on a C version? And the retractable maintenance area on a C version, could that be a boat instead? Okay, so that's my idea of capturing the booster, although with no fancy armor or anything. Let's just make a few holes. I'm sure Elon knows a boring company somewhere who can dig him some holes. There we have it. Until next time, give me a problem, I'll solve it.